No doubt about it, we live in an increasingly digital world. So you need to be connected online in your bricks and mortar shop. Now, over the course of this presentation, I'm going to give you a few little tips and the things that we do to promote ourselves. Okay. Last year, when I gave this speech, the biggest thing at that time was Pokemon Go. Now, this acts in two ways, this Pokemon Go section. One, at that point, it was so big in terms of the amount of people that was on Facebook, on Twitter, and the amount of users. Also, everybody was permanently on their phone playing on Pokemon Go. Unfortunately for Pokemon Go, it's kind of gone in terms of like its profile. So it's kind of spiked and then dropped again. So for this presentation, I was looking for somebody else that kind of was had a high social media profile. And I came up with this guy, unfortunately. Now, whilst I'm not saying that you should in any way use Donald Trump as an inspiration for your own Twitter profile, it does show the kind of impact that Twitter and Facebook has on the world in general. I'd probably argue that his Twitter campaign actually won him the presidential election because he definitely beat Hillary Clinton on Twitter. So, and despite what you think of him, he was very successful, and it's a direct way of connecting with your target audience. So, people still buy greeting cards. There's no doubt about that as well. Unfortunately, you do need to have some sort of online presence to get people into your shop. So, we're Wishes of Cudworth. We're a small, independent greeting card and gift shop in Cudworth, which is a little village in Barnsley. We sell candles and greeting cards, bath bombs, etc. So, yes, Cudworth. So, it's very Yorkshire. It's a mining town, so it's quite traditional in terms of the things that our customers and the things they want to buy. The first thing we did, so it's over a couple of years now, is that we went onto Google and we just basically Googled card shops in Cudworth just to see what came up. Now, back then, there was really nothing in terms of what anybody else was doing. So it's always good to kind of like, before you do anything, just kind of look at how you're kind of coming up on Google. So, okay. So before you do anything else, if you've not done anything, I'd suggest just setting up a simple Facebook page. Most people say things like, do I need a website? Before you even get onto websites or anything like that, just make sure that you've got a Facebook page. It's really simple to set up. It doesn't cost you any money initially, and you can immediately start to engage with your local area. So that was the first thing we did, and it's kind of just grown and grown from there. It'll also give you the confidence to kind of keep doing more and more on social media. So we looked at our goals and objectives, which was to show up in search engines. So when people went onto Google or Bing and put in greeting cards, Barnsley, Cudworth, we'd come up. To show your products and services and just have like your contact numbers. So you basically do need an online presence of some kind. Otherwise, how are people going to find you? Okay. So with our Facebook page, we initially did kind of quite simple photography. So we use greeting card wrapping paper as a backdrop. So all these are taken on our shop counter. So every Saturday, myself and Julia, who owns the shop, basically get a product selection together, and then we just do little setups. So it's quite simple, and it's all done on our phones. So any of you can do this in your shop. And it's just a case of just doing little displays of your products. What we have noticed, if you keep on doing just simple products, eventually your customers will get bored of that. So you've got to mix it up. So whilst this looks great and it is something that you do need to do, don't do it every day. Because if you're just posting product, people become desensitized to it and almost get a little bit bored. What we've noticed is that you've got to basically keep your social media about you as your shop and also your staff. So we use Julia often as we can. So here's Julia sunbathing outside the shop. And here's Julia with a little elf at Christmas. And it is important because people come into your shop and they say Julia works in the shop 6 days a week. So they identify Julia with the shop itself. We're not a major kind of corporate brand. So we want to have this personal kind of feel to what we do online. So again, make the photography about you or your staff, so Julia again, or if you've got a cute little pet like Pedro, which is our rabbit, kind of use that as well. And it's having a mix of different things upon Facebook to keep it interesting. Okay, so initially we just had a Facebook page and that's all we had. And that kind of worked well and we kind of built up and built up. We then started looking at building a website. Now, I still think the most important thing is for your independent shops to have social media as opposed to a website, because there's always going to be a few downsides to a website. You can have the best website in the world, but unless you're going to be kind of seriously into doing your SEO, which is your search engine optimization, then you're not going to get seen. So we had initially just a simple, basic website that was set up. We've also toyed with an e-commerce website, but I'll go into the ups and downs of that later on. And now we're on our third website build, which is something, again, I'll talk about later. So if you're going to go down the route of having a website, you've got to kind of look at a few basic things, like who's going to create your website. So you're going to pay somebody to do that, which is fine, but then what's going to happen in terms of updating it? Who's going to put your products on? So I spoke to a lovely woman recently, and the two things she said to me straight away about her website, well, potential website, was one, the person who was going to build the website asked her how much it was going to cost, and that put her off, which I think is a great question that you should kind of consider straight away, how much you're willing to pay. And then also who's going to kind of list your products on, because it is a full-time job almost. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a website, it's just being aware of what the work that will go into maintaining it. An important thing that we've done as a shop is develop a brand. So in terms of our logo, the banners across our social media, our website, everything kind of flows in the same way. And that helps kind of create consistency and identification for your customers. So our website, again, we kind of keep the same color schemes often as we can, our logo, and this kind of follows through for all our printed merchandise and marketing material. So again, it's like quite simple in terms of product and kind of branding. So this is our current website at the moment, and it's quite a simple website. What we've tried to do is on this third build is have more content on it, so there is the kind of sections for each of our products, and we're going to build it more as a blog website, because ultimately our end goal is always going to be getting people into the shop. We're not kind of going for a full e-commerce website, though we would like to sell a little bit in the future. So this is what we've kind of rebuilt the website, so it is more about the content in terms of providing information and, again, product photography. Okay. The biggest problem we've found trying to sell online is your recommended retail prices. Now, in your shop, you're competing with a local area. Online, you're going to be competing with everybody. And what you're going to find is that people are going to put their products down so little in terms of their markup they're making that you're going to struggle. You can't sell one thing in your shop at £20 and then sell it online at £15, because that will just kind of annoy your customers that come into your shop. So what we've been trying to look at doing at the moment, especially online, is to find unique products that we can sell that have just not really got that wide exposure. And I think that's kind of a good example of what we're going to do in the future, is finding unique products, but also kind of a great price point. Okay. So, building a website, you can have the best website in the world ever. But unless you're going to do work in terms of promoting it and using your SEO, no one's going to be able to see it. So you can get this great website, but you're going to have to do something to promote it. Things like blogging are quite important. So you have to spend time, at least once a month, probably longer, doing a new blog post. So kind of blog about a new product and kind of make it interesting to read. And hopefully then you're creating content that time and time again, people will return to your website to look at. So this is one of our blog posts. And this is a bit more towards kind of the retail end, but this was kind of how we use leaflets and promotional products in our shop to promote ourselves. Okay. What we found to be very good in terms of engaging with in the shop is kind of still traditional printed promotions. So we still do leaflets that we hand out. We make our own little gift tags that we put onto our products. We have little round stickers that we kind of put onto all our packaging. We have a thank you card. So when somebody buys something, we slip a thank you card in. And we have our hand-printed bags. So all these things basically are printed merchandise, but then they tie into your online platforms. So you put all your Facebook, your social media, and everything else onto your printed promotions as well. So everything feeds back into online, and then again they go back online, and then they come. So it's kind of you're creating this kind of constant way of engaging with your customers, both in and out of your shop. We have a candle club, so when somebody buys one of our village candles, they get a card and they get a stamp on their card. Now this is really good in terms of you're rewarding them for coming time and time again, but it's also something they'll keep in their bag or their purse or whatever. And then somebody says, like, where did you get that candle from? They've got a little kind of business card, and they're going to keep hold of this because obviously it's each stamp they get, it's going to then reward them eventually. Same with our bags, we handprint these ourselves, we've made up a little screen. So it's just a case of like looking at clever ways that you can produce your own printed leaflets and cards, but then it all feeds back into your Facebook pages and everything else. We also do some kind of guerrilla marketing. So we did a free badge that we made up ourselves. And basically, when somebody came into our shop and checked in on Facebook, they got a free badge. So it's a Pokemon theme. So this was back when Pokemon was big. And we kind of made up our own little badges, which we didn't make any money from. So we're not going to get sued by Nintendo or anything like that for our Pokemon-inspired badges. So this kind of idea of trying to do something that's a little bit different kind of works really well. So in terms of kind of producing the badge or having events. So we had a Star Wars event in the shop where my life-size Ewok kind of visited us. I've also got a life-size Yoda and many other things that me and Julia are in negotiations about keeping long-term. So if anyone wants to buy an Ewok, come and see me afterwards. So we also had little colouring competitions in the shop where the kids could take one, go away, colour it in, and then we had a prize to win an itty bitty. So it's a case of just trying to do things that are a little bit different, and that'll then also get you noticed. So it's kind of jumping a bit, but onto the website again. We have just built our new website, and that's kind of hopefully in the future going to be a lot more informative and a lot more content. Social media. So, again, Facebook page is going to be quite important for any of your independent shops. The majority of kind of engagements we get is on Facebook, and you can almost see direct sales from our Facebook page into our shop. So we had a lady recently who came from Robin Hood's Bay, which is 100 miles away. She didn't come just to come and see our shop, but while she was nearby, she then saw us on Facebook and visited and bought a couple of candles. Even yesterday, we had some little itty-bitties on our Facebook page, and we sold 6 of them. So you can almost, it could be coincidence, but I'm pretty sure you can see, the minute we list something on Facebook, it will kind of draw people into the shop. And you need to do it just to maintain an everyday profile. Giveaways are always popular, so unfortunately, people tend to react better if you give something away. So we have a Facebook page competition running at the moment, and that's seen a boost in about 200 likes on our page from the competition. And it's kind of a good idea because we're coming up to Valentine's Day. You're basically putting yourself back into the kind of your customers' Facebook feeds, and also people tend to share it. So whilst you're going to have to pay for that in terms of using one of your products, it's worth doing it every so often. Twitter's been a bit of a slower growth for us in terms of the shop. I use it for my blog though, and business to business, Twitter's really good because you can direct tweet another business. So if you're not a shop but a supplier, I'd highly recommend being on Twitter and just doing a few tweets to the people you want to supply to. Instagram, I think it's going to grow and grow. So that's something that we're going to put more kind of time into in the future. And again, it's a visual format, so that's really good for us as shops because our products are beautifully packaged and beautifully displayed. So, and again, you can work with your suppliers as a shop. So this is another thing that we're trying to do a lot more now, is build connection with our suppliers to work together to build both of our profiles. So yeah, so we've done a lot of work with Village Candle, and that's been very good in terms of widening our profile. We also won the Shop of the Month from Cherry Orchard. So Cherry Orchard are a greeting card supplier. So the great thing about that was that we connected with them on social media and obviously through stocking their cards. But by winning their Shop of the Month, we then got featured in the local press. And you're much more likely to get kind of in the kind of local papers from it coming from somebody else. So if you keep approaching them directly like your paper, they're going to be saying that's advertising. But if you can like work with a supplier and win the Shop of the Month or come up with an event that's unique, then you might get exposure in your paper. And that's good, it's free advertising. So what we try to do in terms of planning things out, we have a loose plan. So we don't tend to like kind of plan months in advance, but every week we have a calendar and then we try and say like, okay, on Facebook we're going to do product this day, we're going to do picture of Julia this day, we're going to do something about event. When we do have a promotion, you obviously then build towards that. So if it's a season like Valentine's Day, then you start to kind of look at unique ways you can do it. Okay, so for further information about some of these things, I have a column in the Greetings Today magazine. So this will give you a bit more of an in-depth look at what we do. So every month we have a feature about, this one's working with your local community. So at Christmas, we worked with the Barnsley Shoebox Appeal, and that kind of really helped to kind of put yourself in the center of the community. So it's good as well to work with local groups and local campaigns. I also have a blog, which is called Gift Shop Hub. So that, again, has loads of how-to guides. It has things like online directories. So if you want to build up your online profile, you should look at stuff like yell.com. So there's going to be a list of online directories on there. There's also guides about how to use Twitter, and there's also spotlights with various retailers as well. So if anyone's got a shop, there is a leaflet on your chairs, and I also do spotlights on shops as well. So if you ever want to be featured, then let me know. So with us, the website is still an ongoing project, and it always will be. Video is becoming bigger and bigger, so that's supposed to be one of, like last year, Facebook Live became quite big for us in terms of we've got some really good views on our Facebook Live videos, and everyone saw the Chewbacca mum in terms of the exposure that she got, which is, you're not going to go viral, like you never know, but in terms of it just creates something a bit different and a bit new. And the main thing with these things is always going to be about consistency. So you've got to keep doing it as constantly as you can. You can't just do it and then like forget about it a week later. It's every day, well, not necessarily every day, but we do Facebook every day, Twitter every day, Instagram every day. And you'll find ups and downs, peaks and lows, and it is just really being quite thick-skinned and just constantly going at it. There is other things that we need to do. So Pinterest, I've been saying this since last year's talk, that's supposed to be getting bigger and bigger for retailers. Things like TripAdvisor. I never really thought until recently about putting us on TripAdvisor. So again, that's like kind of another way of exposure. There's something called Stella, which I'm researching at the moment, which is supposed to be the next online platform. So not all of these are going to be big, but it's just a case of trying to look at different ways to promote yourself. And obviously making sure that your Google page is like your Google business page is strong, and just your online presence all over.